Recreation Center feasibility study, an amount of $52,000.
Trustee Miller? Okay, Clerk Wright, you made the motion, you get to speak first.
I
Wait,
did-
wait, wait, did you want, to go, did you want to talk about it then?
Yes, please. If, so the board's,
I'm
if,
sorry.
it's the board's
Director
pleasure,
Best.
though.
For the people in the audience or at TV land, we talked about this for a long time yesterday, so please give us over again.
I love to walk. I know my wife loves to walk. She walks 6 miles every morning. And the neighborhood, people call her the bullet because she goes flying by as fast as she can. And she would love a place to walk in the winter. But we, unfortunately, live in Canton, not in Van Buren Township, right? So I know my wife likes to walk, and I know I love to walk, but I don't know if my neighbors do, and I don't know if they like to play I know my son likes to play basketball, but I don't know if my neighbors like to play basketball. I don't know how many of my neighbors like to play basketball. I know we have facilities in Canton to do that, where I live, but in Van Buren, I know we have certain facilities that we can do certain things at, other things at. What the township elected officials have brought and Public Services Department has brought to the table today is a proposal to determine what type of activities this community is looking to have available to it, and facilities to do these activities in, such as does the township need or want a walking track? Does it need or want and have a demand for a fitness area? Does it need more basketball courts? Does it need more meeting rooms? Does it need more places to have events? And so and also, can we afford it? Can we operate it? Can we staff it? Where would we put it? How much would the building cost? How much would a facility like that cost? As not professionals in all these types of things, we put out, through the direction of the elected officials and the trustees, a RFP for a recreation center feasibility study to find out who could provide us a study to tell us what we need to know, to provide us the facts. We did a statewide bid search to do this. We got 4 bids back. We spent a lot of time comparing each company, their price, their previous experience, who they've worked for, what their final products were, actually going and looking some of those final products. And we today are proposing to hire a team led by Plant Moran Cressa to provide services of a recreation center feasibility study to Van Buren Township. They will actually provide the following services to the township. They will identify the township's community needs, potential financial support for the recreation center. Plant Moran Cressa will partner with one of Michigan's most respected survey and research companies, Epic MRA. The 4 partnering organizations have been involved in countless recreation feasibility studies and recreation building design projects. The scope of their works includes a demographic analysis, determining programming planning with their partner Russell Design and Newman Smith Architects. There will be a telephone survey, and I know everyone hates picking up the phone and answering a survey, but in this case, it will be very beneficial to the township's future. Community workshops, site visits all over the community. There'll also be interviews with not only elected officials, the trustees, but directors and people who use the services that are here at our township now, and people who show interest at the workshops. There'll also be interviews of those people. There'll be a technological assessment, a financial feasibility assessment, which will tell us how much an operation like that we need would cost and how we could fund it over time, long term. And finally, a capital issue planning report, which would tell us how much the building would cost to construct and what type of financing we would need, if any, to do that. So it puts together the plan from top to bottom, and in that process, it'll cater specifically to Van Buren Township's specific needs and abilities to what we can do to construct this. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. And this study, if Plant Moran Cressa is awarded this, they will be able to give us a document and a presentation They'll provide you the facts and figures you need to make a decision on whether or not you want to move forward with potential recreation center. So with that, I'll be happy to answer your questions.
Clerk Wright.
As everyone on the board knows that I've been the liaison for the Recreation Committee since becoming clerk. And I remember going to these meetings and sitting there and listening to, if I remember right, Speed Gant, who was the previous chair for many years in the beginnings. He would always tell the board or the committee that there's no need to making a suggestion and sending it to the board because the township don't have any money. They're not going to be able to do anything. I thought that was very negative, and I always commented on that. Well, I think he was just speaking his mind, but I thought it was a negative view for us to take as a committee. So in the later stages, I asked the board, the committee myself, would they start making proposals and give them to me to bring to the board, because I've always been told if you don't ask, you never receive. So I think a proposal was sent to us regarding to rehab of the recreation area as it has been done now, and that time it spurred this discussion on what we actually need in regards to room. And we started a discussion which I think the majority, not only the majority, the consensus of the board stated that they thought that we didn't have sufficient room to put on the programs that we thought that could be put on by recreations, which I know we don't have the room. Director Wright, who was sitting in the audience, does an excellent job with recreations, but I think it's known and it's shown that when you have to run programs that you have to run consecutively, 2 days that you can do it one day, you can only offer one room when you have people that's vying for and asking to put on programs, but you don't have the space to do it. When you have to use your Oldville shelter room and your meeting rooms that's supposed to be used during the daytime to run programs that's supposed to be ran in the recreation area. I think that's telling you that you need space. You may not need a Taj Mahal, but you need something. So it was my great honor to be able to bring that to the board, and I just want to thank this board for being gracious enough to even consider it, because that's showing me that they have the mindset that they want to be forward-thinking and have a vision that we all need to have in order to ever get Van Buren or make Van Buren that place that we want to call a premier community. You have to have a vision, and even if the vision don't come to fruition sometime, but you need a vision in order to do that. So I thank the board for being able to even bring this forward. I think it's a step in the right direction, and I'm hopefully that we get great information back from this feasibility study.
Thank you. Trustee Miller?
First of all, I want to thank Director Best. That was a very good presentation and a good overall view and perspective as to what our vision was. So thank you for that. That was impressive. So that being said, we need to be open-minded on this feasibility study. We don't know if it's possible, but we should be open-minded to the possibility. And we have to look at what other amenities are being offered in the area, and that will all be taken into consideration. Now, when this feasibility study is done, and you just explained some of this, that we'll be able to see what that actual feasibility study will go out survey-wise to the public, so we can also ask questions and get our concerns addressed. Because the last thing I want to see is something to where it's written in a negative context. We don't want it to be either, do you want this or not? That's not what we're looking for, and we all talked about that last night. So I hope that at the very least we have the clerk oversee it and then bring it to the board, since he's talked with most of us on that. I just want to be clear as to what's going out. Now, we also discussed the telephone survey, and I'm not sold on that. That's just me personally, because there's so many programs that block numbers now to where they don't get through. But on the flip side, there is evidence that and research to support the success of that. But the most success on that survey comes from one-on-one roundtable workshop discussions where you have the public come in and give their viewpoint. They tend to give a more honest and forthright answer as to what they're looking for. You just get more out of that. So I'm excited that we're going forward with this. We're not saying we're going to build it. It's just to consider the possibility. So I thank you for that.
All set?
Yes.
Trustee Frazier?
Well, I'm very pleased that we chose Plant Moran Cressa. They're an excellent firm. They have a great reputation. They worked with the schools when we were building the new high school, and they do an excellent job. They only hire the best to work on their team. They're concerned about green strategy, which is important in today's world. You know, being conservative and using things that can be reused again. I like their approach. They've hired Epic, I think it is, to do the surveys so we can get the residents' opinions. And Epic has an excellent reputation, have been in the business a long time. They're great at structuring their questions that they're going to ask the residents. And they're also using personal operators. So it's not like you get a recording. They're actually going to be someone talking to you. And the other aspect that I like on getting the residents, they're going to have public information meetings where they're going to invite the residents in, as Trustee Miller stated, so that we can really get down to nuts and bolts and maybe put up a board and write down people's suggestions on what they want to see. They're very objective-oriented, and I appreciate that. I don't think we can do better than Plant Moran Cressa. And I'm pleased that we're looking into it. $52,000 seems like maybe a lot of money to people, but we have to do our due diligence and our homework before we enter into an endeavor to build a recreation center. And I think this is what we're all recommending, that we do this, and then we'll know where we stand.
Trustee Martin and then White.
I am excited. I am very excited about this. I mean, really excited. This is something that I've been hoping to bring forward for a couple of years now, and I'm excited. I'm glad that you picked a great firm to do the feasibility study. I think they will cover all the bases, and we won't be able to go wrong with this. I think this facility will bring something for everyone in the community. I think it'll have something for everyone. I think it's a great step in the right direction. I've been asked a lot of times by people, what are we going to do about recreation? We need a facility. We need a center. I'm tired of going here and there. We need something here. Now, this is a step in the right direction. I am so very excited.
Trustee White.
I too think that this is an excellent project for us to enter into. I certainly believe that any community center we have or build should be geared to the community as far as the amount of seniors, middle-aged people, and young people. Our community is getting older. Statistics prove that, so we need to make sure that we get those people out of their lazy boy and into the community center.
Speak for yourself.
Okay, but I agree that we should have several community meetings to let all of our residents know that what's going on, what would be built, and how the money would be spent. And I don't think one or two would do it. We probably should have 4 or 5, and it's going to take up time, but we need to do it. I also would strongly, strongly, strongly recommend that for caller ID, we use Van Buren Township, because I'm with Comcast, and caller ID shows up on the TV, and I take a quick look at it, you know, pick up the telephone or push the button and just turn it right off. And I actually got a call from myself here a couple of months ago, and I thought, what the heck is going on? It showed up, Paul White with my phone number on caller ID on the caller ID. And I think that just for that reason, some other reasons, got a call from Kalamazoo today, and the fellow couldn't speak English. And we've all experienced this, so I would strongly recommend it for caller ID for this company to use Van Buren Township.
Chair.
Yes.
Just want to thank Clerk Wright and also Trustee Martin, who worked very hard on bringing forward ideas, visions, discussions that we had, and that should be noted.
Anybody else? Okay, I have a motion for consideration of the, to select Plant Moran Cressa to do a recreation center feasibility study in the amount of $52,000. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion passes.
Forgot to ask your opinion.
What's that?
Your opinion on this.
I'll give you my opinion when I see the feasibility study. I have strong
All
doubts.
Yeah, right.
I am very happy that you guys picked not the cheapest feasibility study, but the best one and the best team. So we're gonna get some real honest answers on this, all right? And we'll deal with it then. All right,
The dollars.
yeah. It will be.
Let's not go there yet. Let's just get
All right,
through
the next
tonight.
item is to consider approval of PEA, speaking of millions of dollars. So, consider approval of PEA Incorporated to provide professional services for the segment of the Iron Belt Trail through Van Buren Township. This one's through, the east side, right? This one's to Martinsville Road?
This is for the west side through Van Buren Park is what, this is for the engineering services for PEA, just to do the
Okay,
proposal in your packet there, yeah.
Through the chair, make a motion to approve.
okay. I have Treasurer Bud, and then I heard a support over there. Okay. Trustee Frazier. Sorry, Director, continue.
Board. A few months back, Van Buren Township was awarded with $50,000 through the State of Michigan Department of Natural Resources mini grant program. This grant money will be used for professional engineering services for a segment of the Iron Bell Trail through Van Buren Township. PEA Incorporated has been diligently working with Van Buren Township since 2017 with engineering services for the Iron Bell Trail. PEA has also been the consultant of choice for the Michigan Trails and Greenways Alliance and has assisted in the engineering for Iron Bell trails throughout Michigan. These services will help to advance the Iron Bell Trail design effort in the township by further developing engineering and permitting plans for the stream crossing of Willow Run Creek. The project area is the location of the old roadbed that runs between Old Denton Road and the gravel road within Van Buren Park. So this is just a proposal for the PEA Incorporated just to start the process of looking at that area and how to put the Iron Bell Trail through Van Buren Park.
That's pretty much a goat trail right now, and people that, I don't know how many people actually remember that road. You remember that road? Okay, not a lot of people remember that road when it existed.
Nope, not me, too young.
But, it's got a creek at the bottom of it that's about a 7-foot jump right now, so it's gonna have to be brought together.
Right.
That's how it goes.
Yeah. All right, I have to ask Treasurer Bud, would you like to speak on it first?
I guess I could say, I do remember when that was the main way that we got residents into the park. There was a gatehouse down at that end of the park before it was opened off the North Service Drive, so in its day, it was busy, and, yep, I remember. And I think this is a good start to get the trail going. Thank you, Mr. Martin. Your goats, yeah. They ate all
Trustee
the
Frazier?
grass.
I just think it's a good step to move us forward, and it's gonna be 10-foot wide, as far as you know. That's what's recommended for walking, for bikes,
Right, correct, right, yeah, it'll be interesting what they find, because I know that area, when you connect the front loop and the back loop is a little tricky, but, majority of the trail, yes, will be 10 feet wide, yes.
It's a great addition to the township. Part of our recreation endeavors.
And of course, there will be barriers for people to drive their cars through this. I know somebody will try. Okay. Anybody else have a question?
No.
Hearing no further questions, I have a motion by Treasurer Bud, supported by Trustee Frazier, for $50,000 in engineering to engineer the trail. All in favor? Aye. Oppose? Motion passes. Thank you very much, Director. Next item. You know, I don't get the chance to say, our Parks and Recreation Director, Jennifer Wright, and our Department of Public Services Director, Matt Best, have worked together on a lot of projects that, quite frankly, they're working together, to clean up our parks a lot. We've got a lot more stuff being done. Our playscapes are getting done quicker. Lisa Lothringer, amazing job on the splash park. She took the lead on that. Of course, working with Matt Best and his group. And we're small enough that we don't have to have a real hierarchy where you've got to follow back and forth. We can be fluid. We find the best people that handle one job and we put them together. And so it works real well. Sorry, moving on. I don't get them here very often. All right, next item is the reports. I have two reports, the 2019 budget report and the May report and the June report. I don't need anything for that. We're just receiving and filing them. Next item is public comment for non-agenda items. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to comment? Hearing none. Anybody from the board wishes to comment?
I have a couple of comments.
Trustee White.
As I stated earlier, I would like to receive our board packets at least one day earlier so that we can have more time to digest the contents of it. And if anything came up after we received the board packets, or after they presented, we could always carry it over to the next week or to the next meeting. And I think it would really benefit us instead of putting us under the gun by not having adequate time to go through and analyze, read, and digest our board packets. That's critical and important to us. Also, I'd like to ask, are there any updates on the planning department and the cable department on the directors? Any updates that we can have on that?
Okay, let's start off with do you have anything else you'd like to ask? Because
Yes. It's been requested at the last 2 or 3 meetings that we have a meeting in the museum. Is this going to happen?
okay, I'll go first, and then you can answer the. As far as the cable department, I've gone through about 30 resumes. Yeah, she went through. Our director went through them, and then I went through them, and now I'm going to go. And I went back through them again. I think we got. It sounds like there's 2 or 3 in there that are going to work out. There's about 10 in there that might work out. They just may be talking in a language so far above me that I need to have phone interviews with them first to make sure whether or not they're there. I think this is going to work out. As far as the museum, I have not done anything on that. I'm sorry. I'm really kind of busy for the next month, so we could probably look at doing that in October or November if we wanted to give it a try. It depends. Do you want to do that? Go to the museum again this year?
I think it was a good thing, and I think Harvest Fest would be a good time maybe to do it. You know, if Katie was very good at getting things put around,
Organized.
so.
What's that, Treasure Bud?
I think right now, because of the parking with the new library and all, I think maybe it ought to be put off till after the parking situation. 'Cause it would be difficult to find places to park.
And isn't she out sick right now?
No, she's
No, she's back, okay.
She's back.
Not only is that the library construction that's going on, we are out right now for renovations at the museum and for the signage out in front of the museum. So there's a lot of stuff going on. I'd rather welcome you guys to the new renovated, partly renovated museum next year.
What we're doing right now is we're putting, right now, okay, it's the board. Okay. All right, let me finish this. We are renovating, we're looking at doing the flooring in there, we're looking at doing some of the painting in there, and that's about it. No, I don't want to get any further into that, okay? We're gonna do about $26,000 worth of upgrades to the museum as quickly as we can, because that's what we have in our budget currently. Clerk Wright can respond to why the packet takes so long to get to you.
But real fast, it really don't take long. You've been getting it at the same time every week. But the packet come to you on Thursdays, unless we'll be in the late, which sometimes we are. But no, most of the time you get on Thursday afternoon. I'm glad you said this though, because if we did it the way it's supposed to be done, work studies should be only for the items that need to be studied and give you sufficient time to go over that, not coming to you the next day. Currently, we have a work study on Monday, and everything is going straight to the board meeting on Tuesday. Work studies are meant to be for items that need to be discussed, and if needed to be, brought back to the next work study and discussed again, and then go to the board meeting. That's how it's supposed to be. But we had got to that point at one time, and now we are just doing I call reverse rehearsals of the board meeting, because everything go to the board meeting. But the package is the same as always been. It's to the supervisor, items to the supervisor by Tuesday at noon, and to the clerk's office by Wednesday at noon. We put it together and we send them out on Thursdays. But if we went back to how it's supposed to be done, if the items came and you have really work studies on items that you really need to discuss, and then the housekeeping items are something that should be just a phone call to the director or whoever is bringing that item forth, and have a phone discussion, like the tax rate or things that all this stuff that we had on the consent agenda. That should be a phone call away. And the items that really need the discussion, like the feasibility study and the things that we're discussing, if it need more than one discussion, it goes to the work study. And if you're not ready, you take it to the next work study, then you vote on it. But you seem like you're being rushed because we actually are not doing it the way it should be done. That's why that's when it's busy, when you have a busy agenda, it seems like you're being rushed and you're being bombarded with a bunch of stuff because we're not doing what we need to, doing it like we should be doing it.
Through the chair.
It's trustee White's time still, but
Did not get a response on the planning director. You mentioned the cable director, but nothing about the planning director.
planning director, we put the bid out to MTA, MML, and we put it out on Indeed and something else.
I can't hear her.
We can't hear you.
Podium, I can't hear her. Ask her to come to the podium.
Is she talking to me? You need, yeah.
The director position is posted to over 100 websites. ZipRecruiter makes sure that once I put it on there, it's out. That includes Glassdoor, it includes Indeed. We also put it on the Michigan Associated Planners, MML, MTA, Handshake, which is a college alumni, which I am able to select that I need graduates that have experience in planning. So there's several places that we are at. Currently, we have over 100 resumes, but we've narrowed it down to about 58 right now.
Thank you.
Okay.
One other comment, too.
For me or for?
As a board, we should be addressed as the board, not you guys.
Okay, that's true.
I'm not having this
Oh, not
conversation
her.
again.
That wasn't you. You. Trustee Miller.
Even though that might be the case, we don't have to personally embarrass anyone
About
and call
for
him
the,
out. I'm
okay.
talking.
Go ahead.
It's. I don't know what's worse. It has happened at a work study, but I don't think we need to personally call anyone out for that. You can certainly discuss it after the meeting, but it doesn't need to be on the cable channel for all to see. That's, two wrongs don't make it right. I have the floor. Please. Also, with the packets, there's so many moving parts to that sometimes we'll have a few items, sometimes we'll have a lot. Many items are voted on the very next day. But overall, this too could have been discussed behind the doors and with the 3 full-time electeds. But again, okay, we're talking about it now, no problem. But it would be helpful to have that packet one day early on Wednesday night. There's been times where I've gotten it on Friday, and when you have a full agenda, because we had budget review time, I know why, and we're missing people. So it jams up, and just having that extra day overall and being, like the clerk said, being considerate of that 2-week parking lot that we're supposed to all abide by, that somehow just has gone away. 2 weeks, then we vote on it, get all our questions answered in the meantime. But that's not happening, so I too would like the packet to be on Wednesday night. If possible, I support that idea.
We could make it happen, but there's
Can
gonna be
discuss it.
changes if we do
Well, there
that.
is anyway. There's constant changes up to when we sit down. That's irrelevant.
It's more than, it's more than just the packet, though. Right. It's the voucher list, it's everything that goes along with it. You have to give the payable clerk the time enough to do the voucher list. You have to give the accounts coordinator time enough to do the prepays and everything. So it's more than just the items.
It's
As far
one
as you
day.
getting it on Thursday, I don't see you can get it no quicker than that, because the time we get it at noon, the deadline is noon on Wednesday to us, then we have to assemble everything and put it together.
Is it
So-
possible to just back it up a little bit, a Wednesday afternoon or evening even? We should have a further discussion on it. We don't have to,
The,
If you did that,
the
the voucher
vouchers
list would
wouldn't
be
be in
missing.
there, yeah.
so be it.
Maybe we
that,
could try,
We'll be walking stuff onto you on Thursday and Friday then, I'm sure of it.
it's okay. I'm okay
may-
with the
maybe
voucher
we
list coming if we
uh,
could get
try
the rest
your
of it.
idea, Leon, or the
But
treasurer.
I think that's the best way, is what I reiterated, which is where it's supposed to be, but you could always just get some of the items and send to you, but you'll be missing things. But I think the way we were talking about, I think if you think back, Lou Bender even mentioned it in our session we had with him, that's the way it's supposed to be. That way you eliminate I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time to think about it. We didn't discuss it enough. The public don't know. Work studies is really what it is. It's the label. It's a work study. It's not a rehearsal of the board meeting. It's a work study of item that really need time to study. And if you're not ready, you bring it back and you study it again. That's what a work study is for.
Okay, trustee Frazier.
I agree with trying it maybe the clerk's way. I was concerned, also, I agree with both trustees that, it's difficult. We had like 271 pages. It took me like 3.5 hours to go through the whole packet and
I have to do it on
read.
Wednesday morning.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's time consuming, but we know that when we get elected, that it's gonna be a time consuming job to do a good job. So we need to, maybe look at alternatives. I think the clerk's suggestion that we put off voting on certain things that maybe we have more questions on, or we need more information, that we study it a second time at the next work study might work. Might work.
But
Unless there's emergency or a deadline for something to be voted on, that we have a deadline or emergency, it should be put on the work study, and it really shouldn't be voted upon until the next board meeting, not
I
the next
agree.
day.
What do
agree,
you,
but
what do
okay.
you think it means,
I believe, well, of course, I think that what he meant was, most of these things are routine agreements that we don't need to talk about at the work study. So he means go through those things quickly, at least that's what I thought he meant. And I don't like this, by the way. I like the way we do it. This is what you want.
Those things, right, I say those things should be a simple phone call away.
Right.
And should be able to put those things on the consent agenda. The things like the tax rate that we know is not changing, it's the same thing, it's just a precautionary thing that we have to do. If you have a question regarding it, should be a phone call away, and you go on the consent agenda like it did tonight. And it shouldn't have to be discussed the night
He
before.
doesn't want it to be discussed at the work study. So the tax rate would not be
not
discussed.
true.
That's what
That
you meant,
is
said.
not true.
What I mean, right now,
That's what you said.
Get a Q-tip. He said that if we're discussing things and we think we need more time or more information, put it on for the next work study.
We do that now.
But I'm seeing more and more where the next day it's voted on, where
Well, it's
before.
almost always going to be the next day
it's
unless
cha-
you don't have,
Well,
unless
that's
you have a
been the
problem with it.
trend, but in the past, that's not how it was designed to operate. But I
Well-
am seeing that.
it's not designed to work that way. We're doing it. It's called lack of planning. And if you don't plan it, everything's an emergency. Yes. So if you don't plan anything
I
out,
think
it
everything's
becomes
planned out
emergency.
very well. We
Yeah.
start the planning on Monday. Tuesday, we had a review board on it. Wednesday, everything's submitted. Thursday goes to you. We've got it planned out very well. We're already planning out our next
What I'm saying,
meeting.
But your trustees are
But
complaining
your
that they don't
board
have
is
time.
saying different.
Yeah, I mean, there's been times when I've had 20 minutes to decide on a vote. And I think trustee Miller has brought that up on numerous
about it
occasions,
later.
that she also felt rushed to vote on certain items that we really haven't, had time to digest, I guess would be the way
Exactly.
to
I
put
could have
it.
made phone calls to the directors. And I do that when I can, but I could do it
Do you wanna
even
take
more.
back any of your votes for today? Okay, all right. I didn't know, I just
Why
wanted,
would we do that? We're discussing
One
a
thing
more
have to
of-
do with the other. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
my
on-
goodness.
Motion to adjourn.
okay.
Oh, wait a minute. It depends on who has the floor.
Hold on, no, hold on. Okay, does anybody else, you've already made comment?
Comment that I'd like to make was, this is about the third time I've mentioned you guys, and I think it's time that it stops. That we're-
Enough with the gotcha
Our
moments.
displeasure about it.
Enough with the
So you can't go
gotchas.
back through with this and again, okay? We're not allowed to restate what we've already stated.
Right.
I am calling for a motion for adjournment. Trustee Merton
Support.
by trustee Miller. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.
Are we missing something?
Was this being taped?
So how
Is